No, you're good. It looked like Hilt thought they had
Mhm.
seen the same thing. We had seen them kind of double back and check on that corner. That timer is coming down to the very wire here. This bleed out could be the difference. Hey, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube, and we are back with some more banging OCE League action. We do have two sets in this matchup between Endless and Assault that end up being separated by just 3 points. Not talking like 3 points per set. I mean 3 points between the two sets is what separates these teams for two separate set points. These two teams were close. And of course, Endless being a team that we've seen a lot of in the OCE scene, at least as of here recently, whereas Assault is a little bit newer of a team heading into OCE League. So seeing them taking a veteran team to the limit here really has me excited to see how much more they grow as far as for the rest of the season. The two sets that were decided by just 3 points were the Blight and the Nurse sets as well. So I mean, we're talking about super juicy S tier gameplay. So I hope y'all enjoy. Don't forget to leave the video a like and a comment. Helps us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. And make sure you've checked down below to make sure that y'all are subscribed as we do push for that 500 over here on the channel, where we do post just about daily DBD content. But let's go ahead and get to this banger of a matchup between Endless and Assault. As always, I'm going to have the link as far as for the Discord, as well as for the live stream link for Dead by OCE down in the description below. That way y'all can stay up to date and catch games live as well, all right? But until we catch y'all back over here on the YouTube, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard, all right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip back into the fog. Time to get things kicked off between Endless and Assault. Gonna be getting out to the wild west, starting off on the deadest of dogs, hanging out with Aimer here. We throwing Shack pallet like that?
Dude, he got rid of it like it was nothing. He's like, bro, this pallet means nothing to me. Get this out of here. It's like, I don't need Shack pallet to loop you, Anna. I just need me, a window, and a good time. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. So speaking of windows and good times, Hatchet's going to go ahead and hit Clutter right up in the backside of the head here, and Huntress is going to try to start this early chase and get some early pressure.
Yeah, this would be big here. I mean, we are taking chase over like in the shops side of our map here, moving towards what's kind of looks like a traditional TNL, right? Just kind of a little bit more restricted there. Nice Hatchet to put a little bit of pressure just passively onto that gen that is sitting up on the Gallows. Of course, the Gallows gen not quite as safe as against other M1 killers, just because Anna does have that ability to be able to, you know, hurl some hatchets up there. We do see the edge map Anderson plays coming out from our Claudette here as well. And we see it's going to be hook number 1. It's going to be around the 90-second mark. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing only one gen in exchange or if we've got people split up at this point.
Yeah, I wanted to point out as well, when at the start of the game, if we looked at the position of Corrupt, so we got one generator that's corrupted on the Gallows, and then we got 2 generators that are corrupted right behind the Gallows, and I think that's actually the perfect Corrupt, to be honest. And that's because anytime that you're killer, and if you ever played on this map before, you know it is a real hassle. If you ever come over to this main building right here and you try chasing the Survivor, you are going to lose all of your gens. It is just a waste of time, and most of the time you probably just want to protect this back spot. But the reason that the Huntress is choosing to position himself to protect not only the main building here is because he also has a hook behind him. So he can protect not only the gen that was being worked on before, but the gens that were corrupted before are probably not being worked on. They're probably pushing a generator that they were trying to work on earlier before Corrupt was still up. And there's looking like there's the hook save, and he's going to try to get some distance against the Huntress.
Yeah, I mean, we had seen the hatchet right away to at least get the borrowed time hit. Now going to be able to find connection straight away here with this second hatchet. Oh, but she slaps some with the D, says drop it. Now going to be moving back over towards our water tower here. We have already thrown this pallet, so it's a little bit to work around here for Anna, but you do have... Oh, if you would have actually
He's
been
a
able to
cheeky
hit that,
dog.
yo, tried it though. If they would have hit that, I would have absolutely lost my mind. We do see though, generator number 2 has gotten complete, and I feel like with this much time into the trial, and the fact that you already got the decisive strike, you only needed one person to move in for that save. We might not be too far from seeing the 3rd gen pop as well.
I think a great thing to bring up too is something that kind of interested me now that I was looking at. I didn't notice it at the start of the match until I was really just kind of looking and checking out the match here. We actually look at our add-ons in the bottom
The
left
Rose
corner,
Root?
and we got a Rose Root. Yeah. So this is what anybody who doesn't know what Rose Root does already. It's a hatchet flight speed add-on that grants you additional speed to your hatchet shot. So it makes it kind of more lasery, right? So like most of the time when you throw a hatchet, it kind of lines up at a curve. But when you throw this with the add-on, your shot is going to be laser like right on point. And I think that's kind of different. You don't see a lot of Huntresses bring that. You tend to see Oakheft.
Yeah, you usually see the babushka with the oak half. Sometimes we do see the rose root. I'm sure somewhere someone like Ralph is saying something about shiny pin as well. But we are moving around as far as this filler pal. Looks like we have found vision. This would be big because this survivor is still injured, might be able to get it down. We are away from that 3 gen that was intact over back the behind the gallows side earlier. It's not intact now, but you still on that side of the street have a couple of gens. So we are at least pulling the aggro away there. I didn't even notice we've already slammed 4 gens out. Our survivor's really cranking.
Yeah, it's been a really tough game for Huntress. She hasn't really been in the position I think that she wants to be, and that's what I was talking about earlier with her corrupt, which is that region that she would really like to protect. But she's just been, every time she's managing to catch a survivor, it's really been in an area where she really just can't protect generators. So she needs to go for the chase and gets the down. But it's if she's in order for her to even get that down, she has to give up something. She either needs to give up this chase and not get the hook, or she needs to give up some of her generators. And I think that was her choice in the end because we are down to no way out with 1 stack.
And what's really bad, I didn't even notice this, is we had seen those shutter auras, right? Every time a generator was complete, we knew about the Rancor. However, the Rancor survivor, the survivor who was able to be Rancored was the one that was on the hook. However, we saw when they got pulled off the hook, they are back to full health. So maybe some adrenaline value as far as from that, but you can still get the elimination, but it's not going to get you really big value. It's only 1 stage, but it'll at least be something because we already see a door opening here. This is Hatch. This is
gotta be Hatchway, you're right. Going for the injury, siding up with the team, explaining to them that I need to take this hit so you guys can pop Hatch. Great coordination from the team. That was actually so well timed from them to just time that up so that way he can make sure he can make the Hatch play.
That was absolutely phenomenal here. Only surrendering 2 stages here is endless. So after trial number 1, we are looking at a score of 20-5. So Assault's survivors here in this next trial definitely under a lot of pressure. We're going to see if they are going to be able to respond in the same fashion that Endless with the pace that they set here in trial number 1 after a very quick break.
Welcome in, everybody. Looks like we're about to be getting ready to go to the map. Dead Dog Saloon. We got Huntress coming with brutal strength, agitation, no way out, corrupt, and coming to win. So her map and her gen spread is not as good as I would say the first match, because the first match she had corrupt 3 gens with the gallows in the back corner of the map there. Nia gonna go ahead and start it off right with a flashlight and try to see if she can't maybe buy some time for a team, but gonna eat a hatchet right to the back, and then Huntress is gonna try to close this chase out, maybe even a down on 5 gens.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing right here, right, when we talk about this build, especially you had mentioned with the no way out, really only needing to get a couple of stages here, right, after the survivors were able to put up a very, very impressive performance. You follow that up with the fact that you're getting a down around the 70-second marker. Now going to be able to use that agitation to rotate this to a center hook as well. Dixie feeling great about this start right now, right?
Yeah, I think the agitation choice is really smart, especially now I think there's little small perks like that can make the difference, especially on the map that you're choosing to go to. So for example, if you're Huntress and you're playing on a map that, maybe hook positioning isn't as important, then maybe you want something like Rancor that we saw earlier where you can maybe rather get that kill. But I think agitation on this part of the map, as we can see right now, Huntress is able to protect multiple generators at the same time as protecting the hook, and I think the agitation of value right there was very important.
Big value, I would agree 100%, especially you talked about being able to keep that hatchet armed, a little bit of extra pressure up on that
Right.
top mid. Does look like there's nobody over at the gallows, but if there was, good, kind of same rules apply over there too. And when you talk about the babushka oak haft combo, when you do stand around here, will make the save a little bit tougher. I was wrong though about the gallows. It does look like somebody was actually over there, as we do see that is complete, but we are going to see a second stage force. I feel like if you're going to do it, you would really hope that there's a decent amount of pressure on this generator. It doesn't sound like we're even to 50% on it.
Yeah, I like the decision to try to take a little bit of space off of the survivor now that you've already confirmed your second state. You're like, okay, I got you where I wanted you to go. I'm gonna go and try to put a little more pressure on my survivors and maybe get an injure here, and that's exactly what he did with Claudette. And I also like the thought process of survivors knowing the 3-gen that could be happening in the back of the gallows map. You pointed out they were able to knock that generator out on the top of the gallows, so that's not gonna have to be a concern of theirs. But a concern of theirs that they will have to worry about is losing this teammate if they don't get the save.
Yeah, and this could be extremely tough. And I mean, I feel like if you're going to allow the first hook to go in, I was gonna say, go into an elimination hook, we need more stages. We do see oh no, this is not good. Now Claudette also going to catch a hatchet. Those are two, but Adam making it in just in the nick of time is, perfect body block, Dixie, to be able to prevent the use of the pallet here. Is, oh my goodness, playing it so patient. Dixie really showing off some skills here, going to be able to get it down, not going to worry about the pickup right away just in case you have to worry about the decisive strike, not worried about anyone around, quickly going for the pickup. No pallet save enjoyers. That is going to be a fresh hook, and I think you just leave the slug next to the hook, honestly.
I think Dixie played that so well, and I think he played that exactly and not how he needed to. Not only did he not miss one of his hatchets there, he was also able to get 2 players injured. Now, he did eventually get the pool, but he was able to block the Nia from even making the pallet, so where the pool didn't even really become relevant. He was able to get another hook on Adam, and it looks like he's able to take this Agi hook and hook him right back here in the corner. We're going to have to player to go pull Adam here and see if he makes it in time. Huntress going to maybe wind up a hatchet and see if she can't go for something. Chooses not to. Going to come to main building. Spot usually you don't want to chase, but when you have 2 survivors right here out in the open, you have 3 survivors injured with 1 gen. I think this is fine. This is a fine call.
Yeah, you really don't mind it too much, especially because the hatchets from the Huntress, right? If you lock people into those animations, especially when they're going through the windows, don't do it to them. Oh, I thought we were about to whip that thing up to the top stairs. If that would have landed, I would have absolutely lost my mind. But you had mentioned the 3 survivors being injured across the way. We do still have 4 hatchets as well. Get behavior to big boy. Hit with the M1 through the pallet space. And now we're going to be seeing help up on this same hook here that just seems to be getting so much work in the middle of the map.
You know, I also wanted to point out, I think for this map specifically, not only did I think Agitation was a great choice from the Huntress, but if you think about it, there's a lot of breakable walls, and that kind of works with Brutal Strength. So I think that was also a really good choice from Huntress, bringing Brutal Strength here. Just being able, in case you were to choose to ever have to run the main building, she can immediately take out those breakable walls. But that was a great shot from Huntress, making sure she can get him right through the little crevice there. Looks like we got our final generator completed. She's going to try to put some pressure on the Claudette and see if she can't find her and maybe secure a 4K.
Yeah, we are going to see. We found some scratch marks, able to get the nice pixel there with the babushka to get the first hit. Now just need to be lining things up for the last one. We do see the Unbreakable coming into play here from Adam. Not sure if they're going to be making a drop right into the way. We do see no hatchets around. Oh, and the swing and the miss as well.
Ooh. 2 players slugged on the ground. Huntress is going to reload, see if she can't track Ace and maybe get her 3rd down to close out this game. I wanted to also point out too, earlier on when she was trying to track Claudette with her hatchet, if you notice, this is what I was talking about. Survivors do this thing, it's called like snake pathing. So they'll kind of make like an S where they weave one side and weave back in. And this is exactly what Claudette was doing. Huntress, she's waiting for her to come back into the her line of sight, into her shot, because if she once she weaves out, you only got one more spot you could usually go, or you're probably going to get dead zoned with her holding up the hatchet. So that was a great show from the Huntress here. I think he's been putting on a good performance.
Yeah, honestly, Dixie just playing this to darn near perfection, if we're being perfectly honest. Nice moonwalk there to be able to catch the ace out of position. It does look like we're going to be trying to keep an eye out for Spree. Not sure Spree's moving in for that door across the way. We do have where you can kind of keep an eye line on both doors as well as the hook. and kind of our slug right now as well. This is really, really tough. We do unfortunately hear a missed skill check from our Adam, and I think at this point, Dixie just continuing to play the game perfect, waiting for the elimination before going for the hook. And this hook will still be in a place between the two doors. And I completely forgot we still had the no way out. So now we're talking about 48 seconds from that sound notification, about 36 from now, before Spree here can even worry about getting out the door. And we are working around main building with the Huntress with 4 hatchets.
That was rubbing some salt in the wound for me, bro. I'm like, on Survivor side, I'm like, you know what? We're probably dead here, but we're going to play it out. We're going to see maybe we can make gate. And then you see no way out, Proc. You're like, come on, man. You got to do this to me, too? And so now not only do they have to worry about the no way out timer, we also have to worry about maybe even seeing if they could stay alive against the Huntress here, because Claudette, she's injured, bro. She's only got so many areas that she can go without getting caught, because Dead Dog is not the most... I mean, Claudette right there in the corner of the map, we got to see her for a quick second. Hunter's going to go ahead and show her what's up. Give her the good head nods.
Yeah, good old nodders there as the hatch does get closed. So it does look like we're going to go for one last trip around the saloon here. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Dixie it's basically a victory lap here, really, for Dixie. Not only after the very strong performance from their survivor side, allowing only 2 stages out the door, but now looking at following that up with a 4K here, honestly, in very impressive fashion. Going to be interested to see how much they carry this momentum over into our next set, being the nurse set on the cold tower, especially because for these survivors, you know, you just got 4K'd on this map. Now going on to a more mobile killer, going to be really requiring the communication to be on point, right?
Yeah, 100% agree. Nurse is definitely a stronger killer than Huntress. Huntress is good, don't get me wrong. I mean, she shows she can get a 4K, but it's just a killer that is able to not only blink through pallets, blink through walls, blink through floors. Oh man, you have to be so communicative with your team. You really need to be like coordinating where this nurse is going to be before she's even there, so you can pre-leave and maybe hide.
So we are looking at set number 1, Endless, almost able to triple up Assault 44 to 15. As we had talked about, going to be going to the cold tower, not to be confused with the cold shower. Going to be seeing the nurse between Endless and Assault after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead, take another trip here back into the fog. Gonna be on the cold tower, hanging out with Dixie on the nurse, quickly making our way up into that corrupt side of our map, seeing if we can find any of our survivors start getting some of these health state changes. We are going to be seeing the corrupt. I like the thought of the sloppy here, especially with the changes to the hemorrhage effect, with the fact that we'll probably be seeing Dixie doubling back either on hooks or at least doubling back to keep some passive pressure. So might be able to get some big value from that, especially combining with the Thana, right?
Yeah, it's definitely some small and subtle changes I've been seeing between perk decisions, and Slappy is one of them. I don't think we've seen Slappy at all during any of these sets so far, and I'm definitely interested to see how it's going to come through with Nurse here, and we're going to see with maybe Thanatophobia, the two could combo together pretty well, and there could be pressure not only on healing but also gen speed with the 5% add-on. So we got all 3 generators corrupted on top side, so all survivors are trying to keep chase here, so that way if they were to go down, it's going to be in a corrupted part of the map, and they're not going to have to interrupt one of the areas of the survivors. Great firecracker from Ace coming here, making sure he's not going to eat that second blink, and he's going to actually extend his chase and maybe even potentially lose the nurse.
Yeah, we're talking about moving up here to the backside of our main, being an edge map. Anderson here playing the ace, trying to see how much juice you can serve out here in the middle of nowhere, basically, right? No tiles, no pallets. No way, stop it. Oh my goodness gracious. I thought was about to be able to pull it off. Not quite going to be the case. Really good attempt from the Atom. The only problem, though, is I don't know how much distance you're able to build away from here. That may, luckily not going to be Dixie going more for the safety blink on the second there. Should nerves of steel from the Atom shown there.
Q, I think we could talk about the Firecracker. I think is the most MVP out of this whole set, like overall tonight. The Firecracker plays that we've seen from the Survivor have actually been, and it just to show how useful one Firecracker could be. It could be the difference of you actually going down, or even getting a teammate out alive to go out through the exit gates.
Yeah, we've been seeing some big value from it today for sure. And you absolutely love to see when small things like that, even when we've mentioned some small changes that we're seeing as far as perk changes. We mentioned the sloppy earlier. We had seen the executioner bringing the add-on that essentially gives you that same effect as well. I'm not sure if maybe that's because some of those recent changes. Going to be interested to see how it plays out over the course of this trial. We do see generator number 2 getting popped. It looks like we still have our 3-gen intact though up on our top side of the map, keeping it. I do believe this is where the corrupt was as well, but we're seeing really holding the edge map, really trying to make sure they're buying the rest of the survivors more time to crank some gens.
Yeah, I think the Survivors have been doing a really good job this game at just the start. They've been trying to reset the best they could. The Firecracker play really just kind of put me into a really good spot to think of just showing how Survivors are, how educated we have some players here. And looks like they're going to reset and try to stop some of the Thanatophobia value that the Nurse was getting on us, earlier on. We had a total of 15% with 3 players being injured, but they went ahead and changed it up real quick, and it looks like we only have 1 player unhooked now, getting unhooked, going to get the pop and see who maybe unhooked our Nia player.
The one thing that I am a little concerned about, you can see that generator that we popped pretty close to this 3-gen that's up in the top side of the map. So I believe that means all 4 generators up in this top side of the map pretty well close to 0. We did see that forward to Peepo coming out here, something that we've been seeing more in comp to try to prevent the tunnel out. Isn't going to slow Dixie down though. Instead going to go right back for that survivor. Gets the 1 tag. Now going for the safety blink, trying to see if we can continue tracking our Nia. Doing a really good job, honestly, making sure that you're just playing it safe, wasting as little bit of time as possible. And now with this survivor bearing themselves into the corner, you can't help but wonder if maybe they at least find a way to break up this 4-gen before the first elimination comes across.
Yeah, so like early on in the game, we were all discussing how it was smart to take chase in the corrupt side of the map because that's where generators weren't going to be worked on. So if you went down, you were never going to have to be concerned about interrupting another one of your players who was potentially working on a generator and have to worry about getting all grabbed off a generator, maybe getting hit and adding another Thanatophobia stack. But now it kind of begs the question, if we're getting hooked near main building where the potential main... when corrupt is down and there's a 3-gen on this part of the map, it almost makes you want to question if we should maybe take chase on the shack part of the map now.
Yeah, you definitely would prefer that. However, I don't know how much motivation Dixie has to go up that way. Maybe a little bit more so now that that generator up in top left is complete. You don't have a complete 3-gen locked in. I mean, you can still kind of consider that little mid-left generator over there kind of at the 9 position to be locked in with the Nurse, because the Nurse does have that ability to traverse the map. We see Alexa set a timer for 15 seconds, taking our chase here with the Nia. Going to go ahead and take the swing, gets the down, quickly going right back up onto our shoulder here, and that will lead to our first elimination while we still have a slug, and it looks like we're not done.
All right, looks like Nurse is going to try to get her pop, and she's going to try to figure out where the other survivors may be picked up at them. It looks like she's going to predict they were all in the corner of the corner side of the map here near main building. She's going to try to look at this generator and see if she can't find anybody. Get some eyes on some scratch marks. She's going to try to see if she could track them down and maybe get this early hit.
Oh man, this is going to be tough. I mean, we have seen the pickup, didn't see a reset, which leads me to wonder if maybe Adam got themselves up and maybe that was an unbreakable play that came in, because I feel like otherwise you would want to reset. We've mentioned that Thanatophobia here a couple times. Now seeing the tag onto the ace, so that is going to be 2 stacks of that Thanatophobia. 10% slowdown onto our gens. Ace now down onto the ground here as well. I can't help but wonder how close we are to seeing our 4th gen popping, because I feel like right now the gens are going to be very, very crucial, because I feel like if we're going to get stages out, it's going to be very minimal at the rate that Dixie's acquiring these hook stages.
Now, assuming that was the unbreakable that we were trying to predict earlier on. Now, this is all hypothetical, but I've learned anything from public games. Adam is be bringing that deliverance, bruh. So I'm assuming that Adam's the Deli UB player, and I think that you were right on the call earlier on that maybe the Survivor team didn't go for that pickup because, like you said, they would have went for the heal. They don't want to have to deal with the Thanatophobia 5% or the Sloppy Butcher effect. Both of those are definitely going to come into effect and maybe could hurt your game. But Nurse is going to try to see if she can't close out this down on main building and see if she can't maybe get an early down on Adam. Very close, doesn't get it though, and he's going to eat a fat pallet send right to the forehead, and Adam's going to try to buy some distance.
Yeah, going to be trying to move just a little bit on the backside of main. Not too much more to go, though, unfortunately. That is going to be a down here, and that is now going to be, what is it, hook stage number 1 for the Survivor. So this, we only have, is that Spry is the last one you would like to find now as far as your fresh hooks across the board. And if you do manage to find Hilp here, that will be the elimination there. There's that, broken status next to the Adam. That might be that Delve you were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why this came into my head, and this is partially relevant, but you ever watch a SpongeBob episode with he has a sock over his head and he's going to rob a bank? That's always what I think about when I'm thinking about Nurse. Just when she's got the bag over her head, I think of this funny image of SpongeBob put it in the bag. I think of it all the time. Nurse is just so funny to me with the bag in her head. She's got some interesting cosmetics, you could say.
I do. I mean, some of them are pretty gnarly for sure. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to unsee that now that you've told me that. I appreciate it. We do see though now moving up towards the top side of our map here. We do still have the 2 gens, one being the top right, and then of course the top mid as well, both being in play. It sounds like this generator here around the 35% mark, somewhere around that mark. There is Spry. That is our last fresh hook survivor here as well. Would really prefer to get them down first because then you can have some hang time to find Aimer.
Yeah, she's got Pop on deck, but that's not one of her main focuses is right now. She needs to down the Survivor in the corner of the map because, one, there's only 2 people left, and there's only also 1 generator left, and it's not going to be too difficult with both of them being injured, and of course you are Nurse, so you're going to be able to close down a chase pretty damn quick. So she's going to teleport to the top floor of the main building here, check on her generator, see if Adam's going to be working anywhere in her vicinity. Doesn't get any eyes on the Survivor here, though, and she's just going to maybe see if she could look around a bit more.
Yeah, I would imagine at this point we are going to be seeing Aimer try and play rather immersed here. Make sure that they can avoid, see if you can make an end game play because Aimer does have 2 stages left, so that would be a pretty nice little point swing when you figure, what, 5 points essentially altogether. You get 2 points for the escape. Also, you're depriving the 3 points as far as from the Nurse here, so not a bad idea. The only problem though is you are injured, so of course not only are you leaving scratch marks if you're running, but you always are leaving the blood trail behind you.
I think it's kind of interesting too how much of work Sloppy Butcher was putting in. Like nobody was really able to heal as much as they probably wanted to. I think Sloppy Butcher probably ended up being a good call at the end of the day. So not only like is it good on its own with players struggling to heal, but again Thanatophobia working hand in hand, making sure not only if they can't heal, they also are not able to get that gen pressure that we need because any kind of 5-10% could be huge. Because if you don't get that generator completed in time, this Nurse can go back and get the pop on your gen when maybe that 5% difference could have been you completing the gen.
Right, especially when we talk about that like cumulative effect because we don't have the ruin to start with like that passive regression, right? So even when we talk about, let's say, the gen back by Shaq that maybe hasn't been worked on all at once, but slowly throughout the course of the game, there's our slug here. I think at this point with the slug being at this portion of the map, we're just going to go ahead, secure the hook stage here. There is hang time. You can move back towards where you expect your hatch to be as well, but this is tough. I mean, maybe Adam could have thought about a gen just simply to make it so you make it to the survivors coming out this next round that they have to get, outs, because as it is right now, unless there's an end game play, this next this next trial here, Endless's survivors just simply need to complete the gens. I know I make that sound so easy by saying simply complete the gens, but it means you don't have to worry about any end game play, right?
Yeah, I think one more thing to bring up too is Adam has actually been doing a pretty damn good job of just stealthing out and make sure he hasn't been getting caught by this Nurse. She's been blinking around a part of the map now for quite a bit, and she just hasn't been able to get any eyes on him whatsoever. She not only did she slug our other Nia player here for quite a long time. Oh, excuse me, not is that Nia? I don't know, whoever's on the hook, she's been slugging her for a long time, and then she also is able to hold this hook to second state, and Adam's still not being caught. Maybe he's in a locker, maybe he's trying to make a play near Hatch again, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we at least know that the Nia isn't going to have the deliverance, right? We've already seen that from the Atom here. So if Spry is going to be taken off the hook, it is going to be with the assistance from Aimer. We are going to see at this point Dixie just moving on back, setting up for a hatch play here, unless maybe Adam's on a. I didn't happen to see our door location, but I feel like even if there's a door all the way across the map, unless we're talking about like a wake up sort of play, I don't know if there's enough time to open the door.
Yeah, now in the Survivor's defense, getting down to one generator is like, that's kind of a solid result. When you're on Cold Tower and you're going up against Nurse, it's actually very difficult to get a strong outcome. Like the idea of getting a 4 out against a Nurse is kind of unrealistic. It's like, it's definitely possible and it's within your power. It's just kind of like most of the time though, with this strong of a killer, the strongest killer in the game, with the power that she has, just to be able to blink at the top of main building within seconds, it's very, very difficult to actually get most of your generators done and be able to make the escape.
Yeah, agreed 100%. I mean, I feel like when we have seen Nurse on smaller maps like this, it's part of the reason why we also allow all of the second chance perks for the survivors and everything as well, right? You've got all the second chance perks, the reset perks, you've got the exhaustion perks all at your disposal, which I think really allows us to see some different back and forth than to say like when we see the Oni, who is very strong in their own right, and has the power spike, but we tend to not see as much of the second chance perks in those situations. So you kind of like to see the whole arsenal kind of being thrown at these killers on the Nurse sets.
And I think that's another thing too, is just talking about perks, like how far one perk can really go to change a game. Like for example, when we're talking about Oni, that's something that doesn't really get brought into Oni games because of how strong it is. For example, would be like Dead Hard, just because of how much it could extend a chase and how long it could buy time. But with Nurse, you're gonna get access to not only Dead Hard and all these other strong perks that can maybe help you out in the game, and that just shows just how strong a strong Nurse player could be and how difficult it can be to make it out of the game. But she's going to just try her best to watch both doors and make sure she can prevent Adam from getting any chance at making it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe Adam's trying to do one of those 20% plays and then guessing it right, but unfortunately with just how close these doors are, you can basically blink with a single blink, check the other door, double blink back to the same spot, and I just don't think there is enough time. I mean, maybe possibly if you play it pixel perfect, but especially when you also consider the fact that you are injured. Now going to go for the last run. Keep in mind,
well, he tried.
I was going to say it is an Adam, but that's going to be a down here onto Aimer. And I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me at 4 gens complete. Very strong performance by Dixie.
Slappy Butcher Thanatophobia turns out to be the right call because it's going to be her favor at the end of the game here. Getting our sacrifice, I do think it was pretty strong for the survivors to at least make it down to 1 gen, even though they didn't make it out that game. I think it was actually a pretty strong performance on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it does put some pressure onto your killer into this next set, right? Like, it makes it to where Assault's killer coming out on the Nurse can no longer rely on those end game builds. Can't rely on No Way Out, can't rely on No Ed. Gonna have to do something similar. Maybe they do the same thing with Slappy. We've sometimes seen where killers in this sort of situation will also throw something like a Dying Light to buy a little bit of extra slowdown as well. So we will see what the response from Assault looks like here after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip back into the fog. Trial number 4 here. We're going to be seeing Assault out on the killer side. Endless currently up 24-8, so I think they are going to be looking for a little bit of help here from their killer to try and really turn things around, try and take home set number 2, even this thing back up at 1 apiece. We do see finding a survivor relatively quick. Not going to be taking chase though with them, as they do hold shift W up into the corrupt side of the map. However, finding ourselves vision, and if we are able to get ourselves down, that would be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I think Nurse both nurses chose to go with the Thanatophobia Sloppy Butcher package. Now, I'm no nurse expert, nor do I main nurse, but I do think it's pretty cool how we're getting to see some more utility and more, like, just universal perks instead of just running most of the same meta. I think Sloppy Butcher actually coming back with that buff was, like, pretty beneficial to the perk, and also the nice combo alongside Thana could be proved to be very strong. He's going to go ahead and get his hook here, and maybe that's going to be the first hook of the game. He's going to look on some of his corrupted gens, get some eyes on our Meg player here in the back corner of the map. Looks like he's going to try to pull away and see if he can't get some distance on our nurse here, get some fire distance, maybe a sprint burst play off of the Meg, and he's going to try to extend his chase as long as he can. Great use of the flashlight.
Yeah, really good job with the flashlight to prevent the second blink. Second blink this time, though, does find the connection with Dixie here. Now, though, going to be trying to get a little bit of that value, doubling back onto the hook, able to find the quick down here on Division. No borrowed time. Big mistake. Oh, but she slaps him with the D, which is going to allow for some...
Okay. All right, buddy. All right, buddy. We're not EU. Calm down now.
Okay.
The power of the net, bro. It scares me every time.
We do see, though, now at this point, going to be moving in, able to at least make the connection here onto Vision. So you now have 3 entered survivors, 15% slowdown. Thanks to that Thanatophobia. Nice fake out to be able to get the M1 before the pallet drop, before the fatigue kicks in. And now, of course, since you've already been slapped with the D, you can tunnel at free will, and we have only seen 1 generator in response.
Looks like we got a broken status effect on Lori here, who's injured, and we also have an injured Meg in the far corner of the map. Ace is probably going to try to see if he can't stealth up and move up for the save on Dixie, because he's the only player that hasn't been injured yet. And one of the injured players, if they were to try to go up for the save, looks like they're going to choose to maybe make a reset, so maybe they can maybe even go for a double save. But if one of the injured players were to choose to go for the pull on one of our stars, you would usually have to put yourself in a position where you would actually have to trade 1-for-1 on hooks, and that's usually not something you want to do on the survivor side. So these guys are going to try to heal and maybe try to play it safe before they go up for the hook save.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, though, because, I mean, Vision is going to be able to see themselves being removed from the trial if they're put back down onto the ground once they're unhooked. So, I mean, we saw the reset across the way onto our 3 survivors. Might be considering to prioritize some generators. I don't know if that is the move. We got to keep in mind that the last trial, we had seen the 4K before the 5th generator pops. That really sets the win condition here to needing only 3 gens. You're needing only 4 gens as far as for the tie. So maybe you just figure with the early elimination, you can just play for the tie and run it back. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think being able to take this player out of the game as early as he did is going to be extremely strong for Nurse. Like, not only... So you got 3 people that got to be working on gens now, right? And then maybe ideally 2, assuming you get to find somebody here in your chase. And that's just going to make it much not as much pressure on you as the killer, so you're going to be able to breathe a bit, not going to have to worry about having that 3rd extra player on a generator, or potentially maybe coming for a body block, or whatever play he maybe could have used. Now that is going to be denied, seeing as he was able to kill that player on 3 gens.
Now we're going to be seeing here moving through the mid portion of the map, not going to be able to track a survivor just quite yet. It does look like we've been able to find someone back over by this Finnish generator. Now actually it's the Lori here, going to be able to move into our jungle gym, avoids the second blink, going to be able to build a little bit of distance. We've got a couple of we got this generator by Pride Rock here. Doesn't sound like there's too much progress on it, on any at all, but you mentioned, if you can cold aggro for a little bit here as a survivor, maybe you can buy time for your other survivors to hit up some gens. I feel like Hilp has kind of afforded themselves to overcommit at least into 1 chase here, just simply to get the first down and start the little snowball process, right?
Yeah, so and against Nurse too, you're going to see a lot of survivors taking some movement, which I think Lori has been doing a great job. She's managed to avoid many blinks from the Nurse here in an open area, which usually you would be getting hit. But going back to what I was saying, Nurse is a killer that you really have to run different. Okay, so like most killers, when you're at a tile, you're gonna play pallet, you're gonna play window, and you're gonna use that to the best of your ability. But Nurse is kind of a different killer. So she's somebody that you're gonna use blocking line of sight like at all times. Anything that you could use to block her sight from her blinking on right on your back, you would like to use. And you're also going to use like just about like the whole part of the map, to be honest with you. You're just going to try to get as much distance as you can, because this killer is extremely fast when she's blinking, and she can blink very, very long distances. So whenever you're seeing somebody like a survivor taking chase up against a nurse, and you see some different interesting moves that a survivor typically wouldn't do against, like, maybe, I don't know, Wraith, that is the reason why. It's just very difficult to chase with a nurse on your back.
Yeah, and especially because we've seen a couple of times, right, where if you can break that line of sight, instead of overcommitting, you will cause your nurse players to have to safety blink, right? So they just end up not getting all of
Exactly.
the distance, which then extends the chase. Even just a small extension of the chase, 5, 10, say, let's you even say get 15 seconds additional. If that's 2 survivors on 2 separate gens, that's 2 generators, almost, 20% of progress. So it's definitely worth every little bit there, especially because we had seen quite a bit of juice coming out there from the Mega as far as this last trial. We are going to be seeing the save, also going to be seeing that Forta Peepo once again from the Lori to try and at least try and bait the nurse into not doing the tunnel out process quite right away, because of course Lori being injured makes her the easier target.
I'm actually shocked that we don't see For the People more, especially when you ever load into a public game. I think this perk is actually very strong, and people kind of underrate how good it is to be able to hook a player immediately right off of the hook and make sure they could prevent one of their teammates from being tunneled out of the game. For the People just showing he was able to save his teammate over there. I think it was Meg who was on that hook, and he was able to take the heat and take the aggro to keep him alive in the game, just so they can stretch just any amount of points they could still get.
Yeah, and they do a very good job here. And it's interesting as you talk about the strength of the For the People, because I feel like we've started to see For the People being used a little bit more on the NAEU side of comp, especially on your hyper mobile killers who have the ability to double back on the hook for those tunnel out processes. Kind of like we had just seen, right? I mean, you essentially force the nurse into the decision: do I want to go after now the fresh hook or get closer for the tunnel as we actually go through? Now going to be seeing 2 blinks and an M1 on to our ace. 2 injured survivors, 10% slowdown if anyone happens to even be working on any gens, thanks to the Thanatophobia getting caught on something here. Unfortunately, though, and not going to be able to make connection there as well. This is big. This is extra time. Allows for the reset across the way. Eventually, though, Ace is going to go down.
Ace just doing what he could here. He didn't have too much to work with. He just tried to use some trees to maybe see if he could buy some extra time in his chase, or maybe try to use any kind of line of sight like we were talking about earlier, just to block the nurse from maybe blinking right on your back. You got to do little weird things like that just to make it not easy for her to where she could predict your movement. So you got to do some weird stuff sometimes. Sometimes you got to mix it up. You don't want to make sure that you're getting conditioned. You want to be unpredictable if you're ever going to be up against a nurse. You really want to make some different pathings that won't be expected, and that's going to make her job a lot more harder when she's trying to blink on you. Gonna come straight back to the hook. Looks like she's gonna try to see if she can take some heat. Meg's gonna take heat for the ace, actually. Gonna see if she can't burn her with a flashlight to make sure that she can't blink right on her back. Nurse is gonna try to see if she can combat and get that down right away. That was a really well played blink, actually.
Yeah, really well done here by Hilp. Gonna go for the instant pickup. No pallet save enjoyers around. So this is going to be another hook stage here for Hilp. Keeping in mind that essentially finishing the game here would cause us to run things back. We'd seen the For the People yet again coming out. This gen over here also getting the pop.
Yeah, I think For the People is just definitely underrated. I think there's a lot of perks in this game that don't get utilized as much as they should. Like a lot of perks you're going to see in comp play that you generally wouldn't see in a pub match, and that's just because most of the time you're seeing, you're going to see your common like 4 borrow times every time, or you're going to see like your 4 unbreakables, etc., etc. But it's kind of cool, and when a comp game where people have to like really think strategically and bring these other perks that are actually still, just as strong. Like For the People are just really showing up tonight, and Sloppy Butcher I think as well has been really shown to be pretty strong on the nurse.
Yeah, and I mean, you love to see when changes come, especially we know that some more perk changes are going to come. Lets us know that we might even be in seeing like some more shifts to the meta in comp, which means it's gonna mean that our survivors are going to have to adjust, right? Which means the teams and the players that spend more time as those changes come might be able to kind of put themselves ahead above the rest. We do see that we were able to find the reset. The reset was able to get complete. I don't know how in the world we still have any battery left in this flashlight. It seems like we've been able to get so much use out of it, getting at least the first M1 onto the Megan. Megan's going to be able to use the flashlight yet again to avoid the second blink. However, this time, again,
Dixie the
getting value.
Demon, actually. Dixie has been doing such a good job with this flashlight, actually utilizing the flashlight and just like the crackers we saw earlier on in the game, like any item or add-on that you're able to use in your disposal is really just Dixie's just showing if you give this man a flashlight, you better watch out because he's gonna waste your time. And Nurse is gonna say, "Nah, you ain't wasting my time, buddy. I'm putting your ass right in the basement. I'm not having under shenanigans anymore." These two teammates are gonna have to get a generator done, or it looks like we may be looking at a 4K.
Yeah, this is going to be tough because we know that both this gen and the generator over here at Pride Rock both have a decent amount of progress. I think this one at Pride Rock was around 75 before it received the last pop kick. It does sound like though it's ate quite a bit of regression since then. And I mean, we have to remember Endless's killer was able to get the 4K at 4 gens complete. That's what we'd be sitting at right now unless either the Ace or the Lori is able to complete generator number 5 or find a way to make an end game play here. But oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's looking kind of rough for the survivors right now. I mean, like, you got only 2 people alive going up against the strongest killer with only so much to work with. Cold Tower not being the biggest map in the game, so you only got so much that you could do here. I mean, I guess you got some trees you could try to block some sight. We had the flashlight earlier on in the game. Dixie really just showing what she could use to maybe extend that chase, and I think they did a great job. But at the end of the day, when you only have 2 survivors left and Nurse being as fast as she is, there's only so much you could really do.
Yeah, and I mean, we see here at this point, too, Help does have a pretty decent, I don't want to call it a 3 gen because it does cover over half the map, but it is a nurse, right? So having the ability to pretty well monitor the 3 gens that are left, we can kind of call it a little loose 3 gen between the middle of the map back towards the shack area, which is kind of interesting when you really think about normally when we say Cold Tower, we're all very often talking about breaking up the 3 gen on the top side. Now none of those 3 gens stand.
Looks like Lori was trying to take Chase maybe to try to pull her away from her 3 gen, quote unquote, loose 3 gen. Maybe because Ace is over here, and that's exactly what Nurse was thinking too. She's like, I feel this might be a bait. I'm going to check on my gens real quick and make sure nobody's trying to crank out a fast one on me. But she feels pretty comfortable taking this chase now, seeing as most of the generator progress was down. Lori's going to just try to maybe extend a chase, see what she can't do. She gets hit, unfortunately, maybe trying to go for the pallet stun here and maybe trying to buy some more distance or some time. But it looks like Nurse is going to be right on her back in the corner, and it looks like she might have to be going down.
Yeah, but I mean, every second does count. I mean, we know that the 1 gen, not the Pride Rock gen, but the other one, nice dead hard here as well to be able to get the swing and miss. All they need to do is simply complete this last gen, which means every second counts. I think we are around the point where we only needed like 30, 25-ish seconds on the generator. Back here to the leftish of our screen that we do see Hilp moving towards at least at this time, and we haven't seen it yet. The time's counting down. Don't see anyone off in the distance, and if that's going to be the case, we are going to be back. Oh wow, this gen's actually back further than I thought it was, and this is now only at about 50%. Our survivors are in a little world of trouble here.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a tough spot. Lori's just kind of laying around on the backside. She's enjoying the grass for a little bit. She's just like, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I just let this happen for a minute. And then Ace is going to try to stay alive and see if he can't finally get this generator completed and get it out of the way. He was trying to push the generator here in the far corner that Nurse is kind of blinking towards. She's trying to see if he's not hiding behind maybe a tree. Maybe he's using some other kind of grass or tall walls to maybe block her sight. He looks like he tapped the gen though, and we do have eyes on some scratch marks. So if Ace doesn't play this how he needs to, this could go bad.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely tough here because Green Machine is Death Hook. So, I mean, that does mean most of your stages do lie on the Ace here. Ooh, nice way to avoid the swing and the miss. We have plenty of time left on that bleed out timer, though. So really at this point, all you can hope for is for Ace to be able to buy you enough time to maybe allow Green Machine to be able to find a nice place to kind of lay out and hopefully get a bleed out and prevent those points. But otherwise, that's the grab here on the Wrath. That's going to be a hook here as well. That is going to be their second hook. We're basically just going to wait for the elimination. We're going to hit hatch, and as long as you can secure your slug, we're running it back, baby.
Yeah, it looks like Ace was trying to maybe go for some style points there in the end. He was going to try to see if he couldn't get a pallet set and vault back in the Nurse and show what he's got some smooth moves. But Nurse, he wasn't. He was onto his tricks and he wasn't going to have none of what Ace was trying to go for there. He's going to maybe try to find his slug here and just try to end up and wrap this game and go on to the next one. He's going to blink around, maybe see if he can't see any blood or maybe hear any of Lori's grunts on the floor. But yeah, he's just trying to look around for his information and going to check back on Hook here.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those like instances where our hooked survivor is going to try and make sure that they're hitting these skill checks, right? The longer that you take to force the hatch play, the more potential that you're allowing more of this bleed out timer here on Green Machine to deplete. When, of course, the bleed out time, I think, would actually be enough to move things in favor of our survivors here from Endless, if I am not mistaken. It is only one stage, but that point difference would be huge. Now we're going to be seeing the hatch close. And what do you think we're at there on that bar? Is that about 30, 40 seconds-ish?
Yeah, I'd say somewhere close to there. I mean, Lori, she's got to, imagine she's got to be somewhere far off in the corner just trying to hide and maybe get that bleed out. Like you were talking, those few extra points could really be the difference between a game or not. And if the Nurse doesn't find him within this time limit here, this could be bad for the Nurse because, well, wait a minute. Okay, no, I saw Lori. I saw a pixel. I apologize.
No, you're good. It looked like Hilp thought they had seen the same thing. We had seen them kind of double back and check on that corner. That timer is coming down to the very wire here. This bleed out could be the difference between running things back or Endless taking the set here. We are going to wait for a final confirmation as far as our score here. But if this serves right, I do believe that will be Endless pulling things off by a single point.
That's actually insane.
32 to 31. The bleed out is the difference. That's insane.
You know, like both Nurses were able to close out their game and get the 4K, but you know, it just really shows every little thing you do in this game counts. Like if it comes down to a flashlight, a firecracker, a bleed out, like there's these little weird things in this game that a lot of players don't tend to think about, but really it just does add up, and it's going to be the difference of you maybe potentially winning or losing your game. And right here, Endless versus Assaults is just going to show.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to allow Endless to take set point number 2, right? Which now moves them going into this Blight set on Suffocation Pit, potentially looking for an early decision. But I feel like that's like, team win all the way around for Endless, right? You fight back. You even have the extended chase for what was it, the Adam? I don't remember who was the second to last one. You extend the chase to allow the bleed out. Just a great play all the way around to fight back for a 1-point lead. So we will be bringing set number 3, looking to see if Assault will be able to step up to the challenge here for Blight on Suffocation Pit after a very quick break. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog. We're going to be on the Suffocation Pit, hanging out with the homie Aux here on the Blight. Going to be really needing to put the pressure down here because currently Assault looking at a 0 to 2 set point deficit. We do see, though, finding Ace relatively quick. Already gotten 1 health state change here. Would like to turn this thing into a down. Unfortunately, though, we have lost track here. Not sure, we might have a lucky break coming into play or something of the sort to maybe allow for our survivor to get out of there and completely lose our killer here. This is actually really big.
Yeah, that was a great idea from from Ace there, not only just to get out of the position of maybe getting hooked back in his 3-gen where the corrupt side was, but he's just buying time for his team, and this is really what they need right now. Not giving the Blight any early hook that he could use for pressure, and just so that way all the other survivors are really not only going to have to make a choice between one, I'm not going to get all these gens done, or two, or we're going to let the survivor hang, but they didn't even have to make that choice because Ace was getting out of the position of just losing the sight of the killer and getting off his back.
And we are going to see here now we have been able to find Green Machine moving through this middle part of the map. Of course, on Suffocation, the mid map, notorious for having a lot of resources. Good job navigating through, though, to be able to find the down here. A little longer than might have wanted to, but Corrupt is still up, right? We're sitting at about that 110-second mark. Plus, we are going to be throwing this survivor on a hook up here over on this shack side of the map, and if we can get a good application of the pop, you still have a 3-gen over here.
Yeah, he's getting the on hook here, which is kind of unfortunate for the Blight player, who was also eating the stun. That was a little weird how that panned out. It was kind of odd how he got stunned on that side, right? But,
yeah.
But I mean, he's got his gens over here. It looks like he's gonna get eyes on who's that, Claudette? Yeah, it looks like he got eyes on Claudette. He's going to take a chase. Also have Dwight here. Multiple pressure on 2 survivors at once. Looks like he's going to try to take chase at Shaq, or maybe somewhere he can maybe get a filler pallet and buy time for his team.
Yeah, I mean, we see, still staying back here on this shack side. Now going to be applying the pop goes the Weasel onto this generator here. 25% instant regression. Now getting back into chase, trying to move through the middle here. One more charge left. Not going to be able to find the M1. That was very, very close. Now going to be taking the vault here, doing their best imitation of being named Walter. Gets done stupid. Plus 10 wood added to the face here. Going to need to try and play patient here, because if you can hold this aggro, not only finish one generator over here on the shack side of the map, but we're allowing time for our survivors to attack the 3-gen on the opposite side of the map as well. We could really be setting ourselves up for success in the late game if our survivors can finish a gen or two before this down.
Yeah, I think our survivors had a very strong start with just everybody having a very strong chase and nobody immediately getting caught right off the rip. Ace just proving that earlier on in the game, and Dwight managing to get multiple pallet stuns to buy time for his team. Unfortunately, though, it looks like Blight's going to make his way over to the basement, and again, he's not having none of their shenanigans. He's going to put him right in the hole here where he belongs, and he's going to see if he can maybe get this kill maybe, and on 4 gens, because this would be very strong for the Blight. Now, there is 3 gens left in the game, and you have to be considerate of how long you want to be on this part of the map where you want to protect this hook, but it might be something that he needs to do, so we're going to see what's his decision.
Yeah, no, not this one. Okay, no, go check the other one. Oh no, there's gonna be the pop here. I don't know if they were able to sell. Actually, that other corner might still be regressing, but we do see though. I mean, it still should probably be pretty low regardless here. Now going to just get the dry kick onto this generator. I mean, we do still have the 3-gen intact over on this side, and with the survivor in the basement, not a bad idea to hang out over here. We do also now get the tag onto our Ace as well. Not sure if we've been able to locate any of our other survivors, if they were able to make it past that choke point. That suffocation suffocation pit here does kind of offer you. We know we at least had an additional survivor across the way on that generator though. So I like this play, and it makes sense, right? Like, just play it patient. You have no reason to push the other side of the map here. Just play your 3-gen.
Yeah, I think getting this kill is really what the Blight needed to do. Now, with there's 3 players left, and with the 3-gen that you have, that's gonna again the difference between 4 and 3 survivors that you're going against is honestly huge. So if you had 4 survivors, you would have to be concerned about, that's an extra survivor that's on my generator that I'm not able to protect. But taking this player out of the game, that usually means that one player could usually be on hook, one has to go for save, only one player is able to do a gen. So that little small difference could be the difference of you winning and losing a game.
And now we're going to be seeing here, moving up towards the main building, is going to be the Claudette. The main building hasn't been used yet. And yeah, just like that, Alk says, nah, I'm good, dog. Just going to go ahead and break chase. Yeah, honestly, a really smart choice. I think at this point, you've played yourself into the ideal situation. Not only do you have the 3-gen, but it is a 3v1, right? And so, of course, you move back onto this side of the map. Yeah, you catch the firecracker here real quick, but you've also removed another resource from this side of the map, being that pallet. So if we can play this thing safe, start creating one big dead zone over on this side of the map, Alk's really trying to play the long game.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned there, Q, with making the dead zone. So he might not be getting the hit on Meg right now and getting the down, but I don't think that's really Blight's concern. Like, it's more so him just taking this part of the map that he's trying to protect and removing all of these pallets or all of these safe areas that these survivors would have had. But now they're not going to be able to get access to when he really just tries to take that part of the map, and he's going to be trying to just protect. But it looks like he's coming back to the top side of the map, and he's going to kind of get a little greedy here, and he really needs this down. So he's going to maybe see if he could try to get Meg.
And here we're going to be seeing moving around. You got this. We're on the opposite side of the map now. You can kind of understand the commitment. You've given yourself a little bit of leeway here. You know that you don't really have any gens too far progressed. Of course, by getting the down and getting the hook onto the Megan over here, it will require a survivor to leave the 3-gen setup if they are currently over there working on a gen and come all the way to this side of the map in order to retrieve their friend off of the hook. Now Alex can go ahead and also check over on this side of the map, figure out which of these 3 gens here you want to go ahead and apply the pop goes the weasel to. It does look like we had a pretty quick unhook come in, which means Alex should probably feel pretty confident in the fact that there is not too much progress on your 3-gen as far as the objective.
You know, I think if he keeps playing like how he just did there, where he got his hook and he comes back and monitors these gens to where their progress goes low enough, I think he could just start stretching and getting a bunch more hooks out of this. There's 3 survivors left, and he still can definitely complete this final gen and put the pressure on the Blight. But I definitely think if he just monitors his 3-gen and plays this smart, he definitely has a shot at closing this game.
Yeah, especially if you kind of consider this progress, this like process that we're slowly getting, right? We know that we had 2 survivors up on the top side of the map that were reset. So now you felt a little bit more confident overextending more into this middle portion. You get the down. Now this hook is actually
Strong.
going to be within your 3-gen here. And this is going to be another fresh hook as well. So in case for some odd reason you end up losing your 3-gen, you're at least making sure that you're getting those very valuable fresh hooks across the board. Right now, you would really like to find vision.
I also think it was really big on the Claudette being able to dodge the hit on the Blight ear, because if he was managed to get the hit, they know they can't double save no more because they need to have a player that's healed. But there it is. He's going to take the hit, and Claudette's going to try to take the chase and pull away from the hook, maybe keep the pressure off of Ace and Meg so they can get a reset. But I think Blight is totally fine taking the chase on Claudette just to keep him on his 3-gen side of the map and keep recycling these hooks to where eventually it's just going to close out and become his game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, just really seems to be in control. Now, by the time you get this hook, we don't even have a reset across the way. Not sure if that's because they don't have the time or if because maybe they're trying to prioritize a little bit of progress on this very valuable, what would be a 5th generator getting complete. We do see across the way there is a broken status. Not sure if maybe that might be the deliverance into play here. We do see, though, this is going to be a tag onto the Meg. So now 3 injured survivors across the board. Anybody working on a gen currently slowed down by 15% thanks to that Bananaphobia.
Yeah, Blight coming right back down on his 3-gen part of the map. He injured Meg, but didn't want to commit to the chase there, because if he knows if he commits to chase on Meg top side, he risks the chance of losing Len in his 3-gen on bottom side, and he needs to make sure he can protect this at all costs. So he's going to get access to his Pop Goes the Weasel and get some good I can't find the word. He's getting some good value. That's the word I was looking for, and he's going to try to see if he can protect. Gets the pool. Getting the great locker pool on Claudette here, who might be eating the basement.
Yeah, it was interesting. I thought it looked like there's scratch marks heading in, almost like they were trying to jump in there right away. Not sure if maybe they weren't expecting the second locker check, but unfortunately that is going to be another hook stage for Vision there, seeing themselves on the hook, and that is now getting us closer and closer to really winding things down. We do have everyone has been fresh hook. Vision is able to be removed from the game once they're taken off the hook. Both Wrath and Dixie, who just reset, have only been hooked once, but since they've been resetting, that means they're not working on gens, which means they've just been slowly regressing off of these dry kicks.
Yeah, I think I think this all just came down with Blight getting that early kill on the game that he needed. So as soon as he was managed to close out that kill and put it down to 3 survivors instead of 4, this is really where it became. He's like, you know what, survivors, you're gonna play my game. I'm gonna make you guys play on my part of the map. I'm gonna make you guys work within my 3-gen, and I'm gonna try to control this hook on basement and see what you guys could do about it. And it looks like it's very hard because they have to come for the backside when we know they were healing top, and he feels very comfortable leaving now because he has to close the kill out in the basement.
Yeah, and especially when you consider that these are the 3 gens that were uncorrupted to start the game too, right? So you push into this side of the map, you get the hooks, you get the early elimination, and then you just vibe over here. I mean, we've seen a couple of chases where we pushed up onto the top side, but that's really been more out of like the want versus out of necessity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been just the Blight trying to see if he can't extend and maybe just get a few more hooks on top of what he's got. He knows that he could just stick around bottom and eventually survivors are going to have to come to his side. If they ever want to make it out, you need to get the gens done. That's your only way of making it out and getting out alive. So he's just trying to see if he can't extend a few more hits and maybe get an early down, and which he showed that he could because he has Ace on this hook and he's just going to do his best at protecting both the gens and the hook at the same time. And Meg's going to really have to make a decision here, and we're going to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I mean, we do see the 2 missed skill checks right away to go ahead and progress the game here. I didn't happen to see what our door spread was. I didn't happen to see if we even have any on the bottom side. Might be looking at both doors being more up on that main. Nope, one of them is over on this side here. So just going to only have the 1 door to truly have to work about, but it is extended to the far side of our water tower. Not enough time, unfortunately, to be able to finish the door. There is the no one escapes death. 1 shot down. I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me from Aux here. Not having to worry about all gens popping as well, which does mean they set up their survivors to come out here. And I know I always make it sound easy, but Assault will just simply have to come out in this next trial and simply complete the gens.
Yeah, Meg doing a great job there trying to get the gate. She was extremely close and there was only so much she could have done in that position with only 2 survivors alive. I think she did pretty well. She was like a slight inch off of making it. Blight is extremely fast and there's only you only have so much time before you're able to get that door open. So even with what she had, I think Meg did a good job.
Yeah, I think there might be a person or two out there who might be saying, why not do like the 20% trick, wait for your Blight to come up and then double back to the other door. The only problem I think is with the doors being so close, they would have only had to use half of their Blight rushes to even check on the other door, then use them to get right back into vision there. So I'm not sure if even that would have worked. Definitely was a really hard fight by Endless here, but an even more impressive game on the Blight from Aux. So now we are going to be needing to see a pickup on the survivor side from Assault in order to keep this series going. We will be bringing trial number 6 to y'all after a very quick break.
Welcome back, everybody. Looks like we're gonna go to Blight's suffocation pit again. We're gonna run it right back. Blight's got eyes on Claudette at the start of the match. Looks like Claudette's gonna try to take chase on the main building here, getting the pallets done right off the rip. This game's starting right in the chase, right off the rip here, and he's going to try to make his way back over the logs and see if he can get it down on Claudette. Claudette's trying to buy as much time as she can, and then it looks like Adam might even rotate over a body block just so he can try to protect her and prevent an early down, which he does a great job of doing, making sure that he can keep the heat off of Claudette. And then it looks like Nia and Nancy might be trying to get some generators completed.
Yeah, we are going to see, though, we had seen off in the distance as someone had jumped off of that middle gen. We had seen those sparks fly, currently seeing the Ruin going to be coming into play. We see Broken currently out on our killer side here. Was able to get 2 tags, not able to get it down. Looks like both survivors had actually retreated back towards that shack side, and it bought enough time for our Ruin to now be cleansed. This is going to be extremely big here. The Ruin already cleansed. We're talking 75 seconds into our trial here. Everyone's back to reset. Get stun stupid. Plus 10 wood added to the face here as well. In 30 seconds, we could be potentially, as long as there hasn't a health state change before then, we could be looking at essentially a game reset with 2 perks missing for a Blight.
Yeah, only having access to 3 perks instead of getting your ruin value is really going to be tough on the Blight player. And I like the body blocks that are coming through with survivors. So we saw Adam trying to protect Clodagh earlier on in the game, and we also see our survivors trying to help each other out coming down this pallet gym. Nia going to go take a hit right in the back of the head with a cane there. Going to try to take chase on the corrupt side of the map because the survivors need to work on the uncorrupted side and they don't want to interrupt each other. Looks like we got some scratch marks here. Nia gonna take the first down of the game, and looks like Blight's finally got some pressure on the survivors.
Yeah, now we're going to be seeing the down coming in. I would imagine we're going to try and rotate this hook somewhere into the middle of the map. Of course, with Corrupt being expired, the survivors could potentially be starting to work on the gens over on that shack side of the map. They had been originally using the shack side of the map as kind of like a oasis of safety to be able to go to get the reset while the Corrupt was still up over there. We do see, though, both the middle gen as well as this gen that's right outside of main building, both past that 50% mark. So Broken might still be sitting on 5 gens, but Broken also knows that they are trying to spread that pressure amongst multiple generators.
So this is always a tough spot for survivors. So you got all of your generators up here, and then you also have one of your survivors hooked within all the generators up here. And Blight's kind of monitoring this area, and he knows exactly what he's going to do because of what happened in game 1. So game 1, we had that 3-gen locked down, and we had a survivor that was able to get taken out of the game. And I think this Blight's going to shoot for the same strat, just able to see if he could take out Nia and protect his part of the 3-gen on the top side of the map. Adam's going to try to pull and maybe see if he can't distract the Blight and maybe see if they can get a save before the Nia hits second stage. Looks like there's a second survivor coming in. Maybe he's going to try to maybe set up for a double save.
Yeah, we see, though, Broken doing a good job with that big old wide body from the Blight, able to prevent the unhook before the second stage. Also going to be able to bait out the Dead Hard from Spry here as well. So that is going to be another fresh hook if they want to go ahead and accumulate that, or instead maybe even try and go ahead and use a little bit of time to build pressure in this middle portion of our map, trying to come back, see if we can finish up this tunnel process.
Yeah, Nancy and Nia doing a great job of avoiding the hit there. That could have been huge if he was able to get that down as early as he needed it to. He's going to come back over to Killer Shack. Nia not wasting any time throwing down the Killer Shack pallet, knowing she needs to extend this chase to buy time for their teammates so that way they're able to make it out of this game. There's still 4 generators left, and if they're able to lose Nia on this early on in the game, it could be really tough with the 3-gen lock that we saw last game.
Yeah, and we're going to see here, now going to be going down right in the pallet space. Any pallet safe enjoyers? Anyone? Not going to be the case. This is going to be yet another hook stage here for Broken. Really seems to be on a mission. Not only is this another hook stage, this is an elimination here as well. So that makes this a 3v1 with only 1 generator complete. This is wow. This is a start, man.
Yeah, so I think like at the start of the game we had Blight. Actually, I think Blight was the one with the tougher start because he lost Ruin. He wasn't able to get the down because the survivors were body blocking for each other. But he just really bounced back and didn't let it get to him. He just kept a cool head and told himself, you know what, I'm still can win this game. I can show these survivors what I got, and I'm gonna do that just now. He's getting the hook on Nancy in the far corner of the map, checking back on his 3-gen, and I think we're just gonna see a rinse and repeat of what happened on the first match.
Yeah, and this, oh man, I don't even know if we can see a repeat though, right? Because I mean, right now, I mean, they're just hoping they still need to get 3 gens complete to be able to run it back. It's a 3v1 right now, and we've not only got a 3v1, you're already in chase pretty well next to your unhook here. So, I mean, just really tough spot to be in right now, at least if you are Assault, which is tough. I'm sure you felt good after the 4K before all generators complete. Almost kind of reminds me of the very first set that we had seen today in Cat Jam versus Genesis, where I'm sure they felt good with Bazzy's 4K at the 3 gens complete. Might be seeing something similar here where the second Blight just happens to get it done just a little quicker.
I really like Adam's chase earlier on here. It looks like he was winning most of the, if not all, my games. He got the pallet stun on the Blight, and you just made sure he wasn't getting injured. So in case these guys are going to need to make a save, they're definitely going to be ready for it. But Claudette's going to take chase maybe around the mid map here. Going to see what he can do on a T and L wall. Now when he takes chase in this position, he does bring the position back to the survivors that were going for the on hook. Maybe maybe going to give a quick tunnel out to one of the teammates if they're not careful. For the people play also coming in.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Again, I know we talked about it a lot previously today, but man, that for the people seeing it come in, seeing it used, you love to see the teams really putting their all into trying to prevent these tunnel outs, really throwing every curveball that they can at these killers, but Broken just seems to have all of the answers. Yet another hook stage here. We're talking about another fresh hook as well. This is 6 stages altogether, and we're talking only 2 generators complete.
Survivors are going to have a tough time bouncing back on this one, Q. We have a Survivor that's right in the 3-gen where they need to work. And not only that, but the other 2 players that need to go for a save are injured, and they're not even able to reset because of the broken status effect. So they really need to see what they could do to maybe make a save here. I'm assuming with the broken status effect going down, this is where they'll make the choice to maybe go for a reset.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, almost you wonder, though, how much time does the reset buy you? You almost feel like the reset comes in exchange for this second hook stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you can reset here, and you do reset with your teammate Nancy, and maybe that's good, and then maybe it works out for you. But at the end of the day, like you're saying, you are probably going to get second stage on our teammate who's hanging on hook, and there's only so much you could do once this other player is out, and there's 3 gens, and there's only 2 survivors left in the game. So not only that, he just went ahead and came right back to the hook, and he's going to try to see if he can get the down on Adam.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to do just that. And now at this point, that is going to be Aimer. Aimer, the last fresh hook here. So making sure we're getting those very valuable points just in case there is an end game play. You want to minimize the amount of points that do escape, whether it be via the hatch or like an end game door sort of situation. It does look like there was the deliverance across the way, which means maybe one of our other survivor who is not currently in chase might be able to crush out a gen, but that is going to be slowed down by 15% thanks to the Thanatophobia. Now Claudette going to be down on the ground as well. I mean, just Broken just playing phenomenal.
Yeah, so Brogan's been doing a great job, and he's been playing Blight pretty damn well for the rest of this match here. And I also want to give up to Survivors, too. These guys have been really fighting for it with Deliverance, trying to see if they could really maybe make a change in this game. We've had players playing constantly injured, and it makes it extremely difficult, especially when you're going up against a killer such as Blight, who moves like his speed is just incredible. There's only so much that you can do, especially with him always getting access to pop, rotating these hooks, and always getting making sure he can protect his generators all at the same time. So Survivors again just stuck in a position where their 2 players are injured, and there's a player on hook.
Yeah, I mean, we do see generator number 3 getting done across the way. We still need at least 1 more generator here if you're wanting to at least try and run things back in this set. And I must say, if you were to at least push for the tie here, I feel like even though it's Assault who's coming out on the survivor side, right, and has had to fight for the tie, I feel like it still would be very hard to avoid almost feeling a little bit of deflation, because you were almost I don't want to say expecting a dub after the performance you got from Aux, but then to see Aux's performance topped by almost what it's going to look like just 1 generator could be really, really tough.
Yeah, just this comes back down to the nurse match as well. Just a lot of games that have been extremely close. Like, I don't think there's been any clean sweep just yet. The survivors have been keeping it tight. Killers been keeping it close. We've seen both teams just really wanting to show how much they want to win on both sides.
And now just going to be coming back, making sure that they get this at least going to drop down and make us force just a little bit longer here. That is going to be the sacrifice onto our survivor that is currently on the hook. We are now going to be seeing the hook onto this survivor as well. And since we were able to locate this slug relatively, we've got an unbreakable coming into play. This isn't quite over just yet. Then that happened, though, so
that was a
Fighting hard, though. You love to see it, honestly.
Fighting hard, yeah. Yeah, like most survivors, again, like UBE has really been, I think this is like another perk that's just really kind of shown tonight just how strong Unbreakable can be. Just with, when it's always come down to 2 survivors, and just about every time there's been a Deliverance and an Unbreakable play, just so maybe there can be a hatch coming, or maybe you can see if you can finally get the final progress of that generator done. But it looks like we're going to close out this game with a 4K.
Yeah, and Broken was wanting to make sure to show off that very, very cute charm on the side of the hook there as well. You talk about being a close set here in set number 3, 32 to 30. So I believe that means, was it the second and third set were decided by a total of 3 points? Is that right?
I'm not sure with you, to be honest, but
because the nurse was the bleed out, right?
Yeah, that sounds about
and it was
right.
the 1 point set difference, and then now we have a 2 point set difference here. So 2 set points decided by a total of 3 points between these 2 teams shows just how tight everything were. That was absolutely phenomenal. Really shows how tight these 2 teams were. And even though it's a 3-0 in this case in favor of Endless, I think there's some things to show some promise for Assault moving forward through the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think Assault played a very strong serve and killer tonight, and I think Endless also did a very strong killer and server tonight. I really think that majority of the teams just showed up tonight and played extremely well. I love the Huntress games on Dead Dog. I love to see a lot of the different matchups were a lot of fun to watch, and I really thought the Suffocation by Blight's games too were just extremely entertaining.
Yeah, definitely was good just all the way around here. So that, I mean, you mentioned, even in the first series, right? I mean, Cat Jam able to steal a 1 set from Genesis and really push Genesis to the distance. I mean, through the rest of the sets before Genesis was able to come out and on top. And then again, in this series here, even though it will show a 3-0 set point score, definitely was a very, very tight and hard fought matchup throughout all 6 trials. But that is going to wrap things up for us as far as for tonight. And of course, we do have more games left as far as for week number 2. We will be back on this channel, same bat time, same bat channel right over here. You guys will notice we are on a different channel than we have been in the past. So if you happen to have came over here and you haven't already done so, do me a huge favor, hit that follow button down there in that bottom right hand corner. Make sure you turn those notifications on. That way you can catch us when we are live. In case you're one of those like me who likes to be a little bit ahead of the schedule, we will be here tomorrow, Saturday, 6 p.m. Sydney time. If you're like me, hanging out early on the NA side of the world, 4 a.m. Eastern time here. All right.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be me, but you will